So here's the situation. I've been designing this fully removable head tracking system that should go into any vehicle I want as easy as possible. And in order to do that, I integrated a Happy Model EP2 receiver directly into the side of this system because it only uses 3 channels, one for pan, one for tilt, and one to turn on and off the O3 air unit. Now this system works really well if the other receiver I'm using is Spectrum, and that's because my radio has an external 4-in-1 module that can talk directly to Spectrum and an internal ELRS module that can talk to the EP2. But what if I want the extreme long-range capabilities of an ER8 or an ER4 as well as the EP2 that's already in the system? Well, thankfully, it's super easy to set up. For starters, ELRS can handle up to 16 channels, but that doesn't necessarily have to be 16 channels in a row. So I'm going to solve this problem by telling my EP2 to listen to channels 14, 15, and 16 instead of the default 1, 2, and 3. By doing this, I'm allowing every other receiver I use with this head tracking system to stay on its own default normal channels out of the box, and I only have to set up the top 14, 15, and 16 channels to listen to the head tracker. Step 1 is getting our EP2 into Wi-Fi mode so we can take a look at its internal settings. This is really easy, and all you have to do is apply power to the EP2 and wait about a minute until that green indicator starts flashing rapidly. Then we're going to go onto our computer and select the ExpressLRS network option. Once this pop-up tab opens, in the Model tab we can scroll down until we see our Inputs and Outputs section. There, we can change output 1 to channel 14, output 2 to channel 15, and output 3 to channel 16. Then scroll down until you see the forced telemetry off. We're going to make sure this is turned on because, as the text says, when running multiple receivers simultaneously from the same TX to increase the number of PWM servo outputs, there can be at most one receiver with telemetry enabled. I would rather the receiver that's controlling the plane's ailerons, throttles, and all the other fun things to have the telemetry rather than the head tracker, so then on all the other receivers I can leave the telemetry on. Then click Save, and you're safe to reboot. Also, side note, if that pop-up never appears, you can connect to the network and then go to 10.0.0.1, and this will take you to the web page where you can change the settings via there instead of the pop-up. There's 2 things we have to change on our transmitter before we get everything working perfectly. First, packet rate. In ELRS, packet rate is basically how many times per second your transmitter sends updated channel data to your receiver. Higher is usually better, with a faster response and smoother control. But the higher you push the packet rate, the fewer channels you can actually fit into each packet, and every channel you cram has a lower resolution. The second thing is switch mode. Switch mode tells ELRS how many channels you want to send at full resolution. Anything beyond that gets compressed. If you want all 16 channels to behave like a full-range PWM servo channel, you need switch mode set to 16 channel rate. So here's the trick. If you want all 16 channels and you want them running at full PWM resolution, there's only one combination that does this cleanly. A packet rate of 100 Hz full and a switch mode of 16 channel rate. At 100 Hz, packets are big enough to fit all 16 channels without compressing them, and 16 channel rate tells ELRS not to downsample anything. But it's not perfect. There are trade-offs. It's a slower link. 100 Hz is noticeably slower than 250 or 500 Hz on quads. There's also more latency, which is fine for bigger planes, but if you want a really snappy racing quad, this isn't going to be for you. There's also a reduced radio frequency robustness at long distance compared to the 50 Hz full, and the packets are heavier, which are more prone to packet loss in bad radio frequency environments. There's also more power consumption because it's sending 16 channels at the full resolution, just going to take up more power. So if you're flying a toothpick quad at 500 Hz, no, this isn't for you. But if you're flying planes with gimbals and long-range rigs with head tracking and bells and whistles and gun lights and all the fun stuff that we normally do, 100 Hz full with 16 channel rate is the perfect balance. This is what the final example should look like. We've got our head tracker over here on the Rustler, and it's receiving signals via the EP2. This EP2 is talking to my Radio Master Zorro, and I'm currently in the ER4 setting, meaning that we're going to also be sending channels to the ER4 over here, which is going to drive this servo. If I plug in the head tracker, as well as our ER4, once everything connects, we can see that we're able to drive this servo via the ER4 with this channel, as well as control our head track over here via the EP2. And we can double check if we go into our model. We can see that we have the channel 3 input controlling this servo via our rudder. And if we scroll all the way down, we can see on channels 14, 15, and 16, we are controlling the head tracker via the EP2, which looks great. Now we're going to unplug, and then we're going to switch over to the ER8. Let's say I'm done driving my car around, and I also brought my plane to the field, so we unplug everything. Then we're going to switch over to the ER8 transmitter settings. I'm going to go back, go over to our ER8, select this model. Now we're all set up, and I'm going to re-plug in our head tracker, and then plug in the ER8. After we wait for everything to bind, we can see that we can still drive this servo via the ER8 via channel 8 on our transmitter, and we can also control our head tracker from the same channels 14, 15, and 16. Again, to double check, we'll go into the model, see that channel 8 is controlling this servo, and we scroll all the way down, 14, 15, and 16 are getting the full resolution to our head tracker. It's as easy as that. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you really like this video, we do have a membership program on YouTube where you get early access to the videos once we publish them, as well as a monthly newsletter that goes into more details and depth on all of the different programs and different projects that we're working on. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Inverted Aviators RC. Make sure to let us know what you think about this mod in the comments, as well as any other things that we could add to these planes or cars or really whatever we're working on. Let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. See you guys next time.